At 3:31 a.m., my phone buzzed once. Not a text. Not an email. Just a quiet alert from my security camera. Motion detected near vehicle A3. At first, I didn't think much of it. Night animals. Wind. A loose trash bin. But something in my chest tightened anyway, that small, sharp instinct that whispers. Get up. Check. So I opened the camera feed, and froze. A tow truck was already backed up against my van. Chains hanging loose. Reverse lights glowing. And beside it, wearing her bright neon vest like she was leading a SWAT raid, stood Karen, the HOA Patrol queen. 2 board members flanked her, acting like they were her personal security team. None of them knew I was watching. None of them knew the law they were breaking. None of them knew the damage they were about to cause. And they definitely didn't know one thing. My accessible van, the one they were stealing in the middle of the night, was the most legally protected vehicle in the entire community. That single alert at 3:31 a.m. That one silent buzz. Was the start of the HOA's most expensive mistake. But let me start at the beginning. Before we dive in, let me know where you're listening from today. My phone buzzed at 3:31 a.m., one short vibration that pulled me out of half-sleep. I didn't expect anything serious. Maybe a raccoon. Maybe the wind hitting the sensor wrong. But something felt off. When I opened the camera feed, my stomach dropped. A tow truck was already backed up against my van, chains hanging like metal vines waiting to bite. The engine hummed quietly, almost polite, like it didn't want to wake the neighborhood while helping commit a crime. And right beside it, giving orders like a general on a battlefield, stood Karen, our HOA's self-appointed patrol queen. Neon vest. Clipboard. A pose that screamed, "I run this place," even though she absolutely did not. 2 board members were with her, puffed up with fake authority, acting like they were part of a security team nobody asked for. None of them knew I was watching from my phone. I threw on shoes and rushed outside. Not yelling. Not panicking. Just moving with that slow, controlled anger you feel when someone touches something precious to you. Because that van wasn't just a vehicle. It was my independence. And seeing it chained up in the dark felt like someone was trying to steal a piece of my life. People see an old accessible van and think it's just another car with a blue tag. But for me, it's everything. It's how I get to work. How I reach the grocery store. How I visit my doctor without begging for rides. The ramp is old and makes noises like a tired robot, but it works. The plates and stickers are all valid. The permit hangs from the mirror. The space I park in is assigned to me, A3, printed right there on the community map and my lease. Every morning, I roll down that ramp, lock the door, and start my day. It's simple. It's quiet. It's mine. Or at least it was mine, until Karen decided to rewrite the rules in her head. Living in a small, peaceful complex should have been easy. But peace doesn't last long when someone with a clipboard thinks they're the mayor of the sidewalk. Karen has a certain way of standing, chest out, chin high, hands on her hips like she's posing for a "Neighborhood Watch" poster. She moves like she's inspecting a crime scene, even if she's just looking at someone's mailbox. Her vest is so bright it could guide airplanes. And her 2 volunteer board members. They follow her around like teenagers on a school field trip, nodding at everything she says as if she's a genius and not, you know. Karen. The problem began when she claimed my parking permit was the wrong shade of blue. Yes, she really said that. Like I chose it off a paint sample at a hardware store. So imagine her face when I ran outside that night, breath still fogging in the air, and shouted. "That's my van. It's registered. Don't touch it." She didn't flinch. Just lifted her clipboard like she was about to knight someone. "Your permit is invalid," she said. "Also, you're 2 inches over the line." 2 inches. A faded chalk-white line that hasn't been repainted in years. The tow driver looked at me with sad eyes, like he knew this was ridiculous but needed the paycheck. And just like that, they lifted my van into the air. When something unfair happens, you expect people to step in. Or at least say something. But the blinds stayed shut. One neighbor whispered through a cracked door, "They fined me for a welcome mat last month. I can't get involved." His eyes were full of fear. I didn't blame him. I called the HOA office. Straight to voicemail. I sent emails. Automatic responses. I even tried reaching the board president, but she was unavailable for resident concerns. By the time I reached the tow yard, the damage was done. $385 just to get my own van back. And because they made me sign a "no damage" form before I could even inspect it, I couldn't argue when my ramp refused to fully open the next morning. It creaked and groaned like something inside had snapped. I sat there in the driveway, hands on the steering wheel, feeling that heavy sting in my chest. I'm not rich. I don't drive a fancy car. I just need something that works. And now it barely did. The next day, the HOA sent a letter. $250 fine for unauthorized parking. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Not rage. Not yelling. Just a quiet, focused anger. The kind that doesn't go away. If the HOA wanted a fight, I wasn't giving them shouting. I was giving them paperwork. I started a folder, not out of spite, but out of survival. I took photos of my van in the spot from every angle. I measured the lines myself. I printed the community map showing A3 clearly assigned to me. I collected every ignored email. Every voicemail. Every promise of "we'll look into it" that went nowhere. I recorded video of Karen doing her nightly patrol, flashlight in hand, tape measure swinging, skipping over her friend's car that was literally blocking a fire lane. I read the entire HOA rule book, all boring 40 pages of it. On page 17, I found the golden sentence. Residents with accessible vehicles may exceed parking lines when the ramp requires clearance. Clear as day. Coffee stain and all. And then I looked up the ADA laws for accessible parking. Turns out the HOA wasn't just wrong. They were breaking the law in bold, obvious ways. That's when I knew I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for every scared neighbor hiding behind blinds. I filed a simple complaint with the city, nothing dramatic, just facts. 1 week later, a city inspector pulled into the lot. Clipboard in hand, measuring tape on his belt, and a very professional frown. He checked the faded paint. Measured the width of the spot. Measured the slope by the ramp area. Looked at the small, cramped space I had been forced to use. Then he shook his head. "This doesn't meet code," he said. "Not even close." He took photos. Filed a report. And slapped a bright orange notice on the clubhouse door. Correct violations within 30 days. Karen rushed over and tried to peel it off like a sales sticker. It wouldn't budge. Neighbors gathered. Phones came out. For the first time, people weren't hiding. Someone whispered, "Finally." Court day came fast. The HOA sent a lawyer in shiny shoes and a suit that probably cost more than my van. Karen strutted in wearing her neon vest like it was a uniform of honor. Meanwhile, I rolled in with my folder, my notes, and my best shirt, which just happened to be the clean one. The judge didn't want drama. He wanted facts. I handed him everything. Tow receipts. Ramp repair estimates. Medical notes. ADA printouts. Photos. Videos. Inspector's notice. Timeline of ignored messages. The HOA's own rule book with the magic sentence. The HOA's lawyer tried to distract the judge by giving him a stack of irrelevant violations: garden flags, fence heights, things that had nothing to do with my case. Karen raised her hand proudly and said, "His blue is the wrong blue." People in the courtroom giggled. Even the judge gave her that look adults give children when they say something wild. Then the inspector's report dropped like a brick. The HOA had failed to maintain the lines, failed to follow the ADA, failed to honor their own rules, and then punished me for their mistake. The judge sighed, sat back, and delivered the number. The HOA will pay $42,000. You could hear Karen's gasp across town. Word spread faster than Wi-Fi. Neighbors gathered outside the courthouse cheering. Someone clapped. Someone shouted, "A3." Memes started popping up online. Karen measuring clouds. Tow trucks towing tow trucks. People joking about the wrong blue. The HOA repainted the parking lines, thick, bright, fresh. My space became wider with a clear striped ramp zone. Exactly how it should have been all along. The board quietly removed Karen from patrol duty. Peace returned. Now when I roll through the parking lot, people nod. Some smile. Some whisper, "Good for you." And me? My ramp works again. My van is safe. And the check the HOA mailed me? It came in a very, very nice shade of blue.